Well, what's it been like being here? Taking a step up in competition. What's it all been like for you?
No, it was great. I mean, to be honest, it's just really a blessing to be here. I never really thought I'd be able to play at this level. It's always been the goal from the start, but just to be here and actually, thrive and just take all the wisdom that the coaches are giving to me is great.
Coaches have been raving about just kind of your work ethic, your ability, and just what have you done to really put yourself in position to be a starter?
I would say just staying true to the process, doing the same thing I was doing at Central Washington, putting my head down, working, believing in God, and just buying into everything that the coaches are instilling in us. So
Spencer was telling us on Saturday, even when you're not in the play, you're working on the footwork on the sideline. Just we're that mentality. Has that been something you've always done?
I mean, that's part of buying into the process. Just really taking mental reps and what I need to do. It's easy to take reps on the field, but once you're off the field, and it's like a no-brainer. You gotta take those mental reps. So once you do go out there, you're doing as good as those guys that are out there.
You've practiced all fall against the offensive line on this team, is usually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference going against them versus what you saw?
Washington?
Yeah, or the other teams you played in that league.
I would just say the size. They're definitely bigger at this level. Definitely a little stronger, a little faster. I'll say that's the biggest difference. But like I said, just keeping the mindset I had at Central Washington, and obviously with Coach Mila instilling like a dog mentality here, that just helps a lot with me transitioning into higher level football.
So what do you have to do if say the player you're going against is 20 or 30 pounds bigger than you're used to? How do you combat that?
I would say, some people might think, my height being a shorter D tackle is kind of a disadvantage, but I look at it as an advantage. I'm able to get under them and use my leverage and use my power to just be able to control those guys.
After posting 41 tackles, 7 sacks last season, how have those numbers shaped the goals you've set for yourself here at Boise State during the fall camp?
With goals, just with at Central Washington, like I said, I'm just doing the same thing I was doing here. Is really not really focusing on stats or anything like that. Just being able to do my job at a high level, dominate the line of scrimmage, dominate the person in front of me, and the plays will come after that. So,
what kind of expectations did you have going into the transfer portal?
I had low expectations, if I'm being honest with you. I didn't think I would get picked up, get as many offers as I did, but glory to God, I did. I was able to pick up a lot of those FBS offers. At first it was FCS offers, and I was super happy with those. And then the bigger schools started to roll in, and that just amazed me. So
when was the first time you realized I could do something bigger?
I would say once I got my sixth FCS offer. I think it was from Idaho Vandals, and I got them. And then after that, a whole bunch of other schools started following me. So I was like, okay, maybe I can wait on committing and see what other schools I could get.
What were some of your offers, and why was Boise State the decision?
I would say my top 3 was Wazoo, Boise State, Wyoming, and New Mexico, University of New Mexico. And just the biggest difference, the biggest thing that stood out to me here was just the culture, the brotherhood, and the winning history. Central Washington, they had a great football program as well, great culture. So, I just, in the portal, I was thinking I would love to join a program just like that, if not better. So this is why I picked Boise.
I kind of asked this the other day, but the validation that maybe you received from Frank Maile or Spencer Danielson in a short amount of time here, what have you looked at in terms of your process and realized that you did right to put yourself in this position?
When did I realize that?
What about your process? What about your approach?
Mm-hmm. Do
you feel like they might recognize and that you feel like you're doing right?
Yeah, I would just say the leadership that I have, but I'm not a very vocal person. A lot of people know that about me. I really lead by example. So I'm a hard worker. I'm resilient. I never stop working. So I feel like that kind of made not just coaches but also teammates gravitate towards me, just seeing how I work and how locked in I am with this game of football.
What was the biggest crowd you ever played for Central Washington, and what's it going to be like playing 60,000 or whatever they draw?
60,000 is crazy. I think the most I played against was 25,000 against Montana Grizzlies. That was our one out of conference game. We actually played pretty good in that game first half, but that was the biggest crowd I've ever played against.
What gets you fired up and just ready to run through a brick wall on game day?
Gets me fired up? Just being in the atmosphere, just being in the environment of football. I love football a lot. So just seeing all my brothers, all the teammates just juiced and locked in, that just gets me in the right place.
You seem to mesh with the identity of the Boise State Broncos and bringing the violence between the 4 and 6 seconds after the snap. And then you talked about size. How does that size and maybe the getting skinny and bringing that violent, is that your leverage there?
Yeah, I would say just like I said, just being able to play low, play hard. I mean, being my size, I do got to play a little bit harder. I've got to be a little bit more perfect. I can't, bounce out my gap and, do anything, that I want to do on my own. I got to, do my assignment, do my job at a high level, and just like I said, having that mindset to run to the ball 4 or 6 seconds of violence.
And family, have they been a great support making this jump from where you've been to Boise State?
100%. I got a big tribe behind me, a lot of family, a lot of support. On both sides of my family. I'm Samoan and Black, so I got a lot of support on both sides of the family. So they really do help me, keep going and get through this process I'm in right now.
Yeah, I was interviewing Rico after practice, and there were like 40 dudes on the sideline, kind of like, ribbing him a little bit or whatnot.
Yeah.
He's a new guy. You're a new guy. What have they done to make you guys fit in and feel a part of this?
I would say when we first got here during winter conditioning, they're on our tails. During warm-ups, things are supposed to be done a certain way. So if we didn't finish through the line or didn't do a drill right, we would restart. So they were really hard on us when we first got here. But once we learned how to fit in the program and fit in the things that they do, it was pretty good.
Has there been a player that's maybe gone out of his way a little bit just to make sure, or coach for that matter, just to make sure you're good or got everything?
Oh yeah, like David Latu, Lopez, all the older guys, all the veterans, different Ryder, like all those guys just made sure. Like after I earned my respect, and obviously they seen that I care about this team, care about football, I'm a hard worker. They kind of gravitated towards me and helped me get on track with what they got going on.
Okay.